Guten Tag, my Nap fam. It is your girl T, aka the Nappy Headed Jojoba, and you saw the title. I just did the Aphogee two-step treatment on my highly textured hair. As many of you guys know already, I recently did the passion twist style, and unfortunately for me, the takedown was a fucking nightmare. I'm surprised at how butthurt and personally a lot of people took my experience with taking down those twists in the comment section, but quite a lot of you had similar experiences with tangling and the fake hair simply not agreeing with your real hair, which is what happened to me. Long story short, this is not my first rodeo. I have had natural hair for 30 plus years because I've had it my entire life. I've never had a perm. At this point, I know how to deal with my hair and what is going to help me and what's going to make things worse. So, to get back on topic, after that experience, I did feel that I had a lot of breakage that was unnecessary during that takedown process, and I felt like my hair needed a proper, full-on, refortifying protein treatment. I typically just use deep conditioners that contain protein, or I'll add my Green Beauty Real Protein treatment to those that don't. But after the passion twist takedown debacle, I really wanted to make sure that I had something that was real strong, which led me to revisit the Aphogee two-step for the first time in probably like 8 years. I had never used Aphogee two-step before I heard about it on YouTube, honestly. But I started watching YouTube hair videos probably back in 2010 or so, and I think that's the same year that I tried this for the first and only other time that I've ever used it. I hadn't used it since because I just never really felt the need, but I've noticed that there has been an uptick in breakage on my hair since taking out those passion twists, as well as during the actual takedown process of those passion twists. And I felt it was time to break out the big guns. What I remembered from using Aphogee the first time, though, was just how messy and annoying the application process was. But luckily, about a year ago, maybe even longer, Chikoro, who of course wrote the book Grow It, I recommend that book all the time and I will link it below. Miss Chikoro also has her own YouTube channel, and she did a video, I think it was the last video she did if I remember correctly, but it was quite some time ago, and she showed a trick to make it easier to apply Aphogee. I will link that video below, as well as I think the video she saw of yet another YouTuber who gave her this idea, because I'm pretty sure she didn't come up with this hack on her own, so this is kind of like a game of telephone at this point. In any event, the trick is to take the Aphogee two-step protein treatment and to whisk it. Whisk it real good. When I saw Chikoro's video where she did that, it completely changed the texture and made it so much easier to apply. It basically turns it into a foam, almost like a styling foam, like the ones I use with my curl former sets. And it makes it way easier to apply, because I remember the other time I used this all those years ago, rather than trying to apply it to my hands and to my hair from my hands, I wound up decanting the Aphogee into a spray bottle and spraying it on that way, which worked okay, but it was still pretty messy and annoying, and probably had a lot to do with why I didn't ever feel like trying it out again. But the method that I learned from Miss Chikoro, who again learned it from someone else, is way, way better. And I also think that it allowed me to use less product. As you can see, I just got the little bottle of Aphogee. This is a 4-ounce bottle because Aphogee is pretty expensive. And I still have some left. I only used 2.5 ounces. I started off whisking up 2 of the ounces. I used half the bottle, and then I needed just a little bit more to finish my head, which was about another half an ounce. And I did actually weigh it on my food scale because I'm just anal that way, and I knew I wanted to talk about it in this video. To be able to get my entire head covered with less than this little 4-ounce bottle was an achievement for me, and I was really happy to be able to get my entire head covered with the treatment and still have some left. One thing to note is that I did have to re-whisk it as I was going along once or twice. Once I was getting toward the end of my hair, I did find that the product did start to kind of settle back into the liquid state, the very watery state that it is here in the bottle. So I just took my bowl back to the kitchen, re-whisked it, and I was able to finish applying it to my hair. In that foam consistency, it's so much easier to apply because I was able to spread the product on my palms like it was a styling foam, like I said earlier, or even just, you know, a conditioner or a leave-in or something, and just spread it through my hair very, very quickly. And it even had a touch of slip to it that way. I mean, it was nothing to write home about. It wasn't like I felt like I was going to detangle with it, but compared to the zero slip whatsoever that it has when it's just in its liquid state, at least based on my memory. I found that it was quite easy to just kind of rake it through with my fingers and feel like I was getting a really good coverage with it in that foamy state. Once it was all in my hair, I sat under my soft bonnet dryer thingy for about 15 minutes, and that seemed to be long enough for it to completely harden. That's what it instructs you to do. You know, make sure you leave your hair uncovered, otherwise it's not going to be able to harden into your hair, which is a critical element of the whole process. I think it also says if you don't have a bonnet dryer or a bonnet dryer attachment like I do, you can just use your handheld dryer. I think it just probably takes a little bit longer. I also put on a little satin strip hairband just to catch any drips because the product is very sticky and unpleasant when it gets on your face. By the time I was ready to rinse, the satin strip was basically fused to my forehead because of the Aphogee product that had kind of dripped into it. So I had to just leave that on and then go into the shower with that still stuck to my forehead and let the warm water from the shower soften it up so I could gently remove it. Because you definitely, if you know anything about Aphogee, and you probably do, you never want to agitate your hair once it's hardened into your strands like that, because it's basically asking to just break off chunks of your hair like it's a piece of styrofoam. After rinsing, my hair felt fine. It didn't even feel especially dry or anything. It is the Aphogee 2-step, and they have their own moisturizing conditioner that you're meant to use after the protein step. Whilst I was in the shower rinsing, once I felt like I had rinsed out all the Aphogee, I just chucked some really cheap conditioner, just some Tresemme that I had on my shelf in there, in my hair. And honestly, after putting in just that cheapy moisturizing conditioner, my hair felt great. It felt soft, it felt fortified, and I felt like I could have moved on and not done a proper moisturizing deep condition after that. I was extremely tempted to just move on to styling, because one thing I hate is getting in and out of the shower repeatedly on wash day, and by this point I'd already been in and out of the shower twice just from washing my hair, and this was the second time having to rinse out the protein treatment, and I was dreading going in a third time to have to rinse out a moisturizing deep conditioner. But I was a good girl, and I did go ahead and do a proper deep condition with a moisturizing conditioner. I just used one of my personal favorites, and to be honest with you, one of the only reasons I did chicken out of skipping the second deep condition, the moisturizing deep condition, was I just noticed I had still a lot of that Tresemme trapped within my twists since I hadn't taken them down in the shower, and that led me to wonder if maybe I hadn't fully rinsed out the Aphogee enough, and I was like, you know what, let's just put some moisturizing conditioner in here and I'll undo my twists at the very end and make sure everything is completely rinsed out. After that, I proceeded as normal. I applied heat to my moisturizing deep conditioner as well, covered of course, since it's not like the Aphogee that doesn't need to be uncovered. I put on my cap, applied heat, and then kind of went on about my wash day as usual. I went ahead and rinsed that and then put in some Pusha T braids, which I still have here under my turban because they are not dry yet. If you were looking to do the Aphogee 2-step, or at least the protein step, I've never even tried their moisturizing conditioner that follows that. I've always just used my own. But anyway, I just thought that that was a really cool trick that I learned from Miss Chikoro quite some time ago. Hadn't got around to trying it because I hadn't really needed it, but it worked out really well, and I'm glad that I was able to get some footage so I could share it with you guys. Hopefully after this I won't need to do any more intense protein treatments anytime soon, because girl, we are in a protective style challenge right now, and the last thing I wanted to do was start mine off with a setback, but shit happens and here we are. So hopefully I will bounce back from that little setback, from that passion twist takedown, and we will all see some lovely progress throughout the rest of our Protect Your End Style Challenge. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I will link that video right here where I explain the details of our Protect Your Ends Protective Style Challenge. And beyond that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
That's a nappy-headed hose there, I'm going to tell you that now.